Okay, so here we are in the cabin, not in the shed. The shed has not had some massive makeover and a load of snow dumped outside. It is somewhere else. I am in a cabin, which I'm also going to call my office. And I wait for those comments of someone saying, he's now calling his shed an office. Yeah, you wait. It will soon be called a castle, because where an Englishman lives is his castle. So in my castle up in the Spanish Pyrenees mountains, okay, that will upset a few people. Let's just call it the Pyrenees. Don't want to get political about this. I have 2 coffees. And these 2 coffees, you may say, why are they important, Mr. Borman? Well, they're important for 2 reasons. One of them, there's another video, which you haven't seen. I will try and link up here, but if I haven't linked to it, you'll be able to search for it. It will be published more or less the same time. But it's basically about, this is from my previous order of coffee. It is still well within its sell-by date, and this is from my latest coffee order. So they are 3 weeks apart, and they are exactly the same coffee, exactly the same grind, and it's one of those rare things that is still available. So I don't know if it's from different batches or not, but I'm assuming the way Monmouth coffee goes, and I'm just making an assumption here, is that coffees come and go. So they don't normally have the same coffee for a long time. And I've been buying coffee here since I was a student. In the days when you could actually go into Monmouth Coffee Company, it was a zen place where you'd see people in the booths, in yoga poses. Now it's the actual physical place is like bedlam. Literally, there's like a man outside controlling the queue, and then there are, like in the airports where you no longer just go and put your things in the basket to go through security. But there is a queue and someone calling you, go to number 2, and there's like 5 people in number 2, go to number 4, and there's 7 people in number 4. It is like that. And when you get there and suddenly say, what's your freshest coffee? They look at you like, I don't know. What do you want? Order and get out. Not quite, but you know where I'm going. So anyway, all of that was about to say, I have good reason to believe that these will be from the same beans. What will be different is that they were ground and sent to me in different periods of time. And this one has been opened many times, and this one I've just opened in the B-roll, which you'll hopefully see. This got me thinking about, why is one so much better than the other? I mean, you are going to say, yes, they're fresher. But honestly, there is only 3 weeks of freshness here. And if you've seen from some of my other videos, the reason I buy Monmouth coffee, and I don't buy other premium brands, that's, in the delicatessen they sell some very premium brands that sometimes even cost 2 or 3 times what this coffee costs. And they're nowhere as good, because when I taste them, they've clearly been roasted way before when I get this. And don't get me wrong, they're still good coffees and they still have good qualities. But for me, freshly ground coffee is fantastic. I love, and again, you'll get people like the Hofmeister saying, no, coffee needs to wait. No, it doesn't. I like my cigars green. I like my wine green. When everyone else says this wine needs to be laid down for a few years, I go, yeah. Tell you what, we'll get these bottles and we'll drink them now, and we'll get these bottles and we'll lay them down, and we'll get those bottles for someone who's got way more patience than I, and I'm very sure in 10 years it will be lovely, but I'm drinking this right now because I love that fresh, earthy flavour. And when Budweiser started putting dates on their beer and saying it's best fresher, I suddenly went, a little piece inside of me stopped crying, because I suddenly went, I know, right? I've been telling people this for ages, and everyone just goes, Christian, you're weird. And yes, I am a little bit weird in many ways. But let's get back to the coffee. So this got me thinking about the other video, which you must see, about vacuum packing some of the coffee. And the results are pretty astounding. So do check out that video. But what I've just made myself is, again, back to back, one of these, which was the leftovers of the previous one, and one of these. And I'm on a slight coffee high now, because I'd already had my 3 or 4 coffees to get me awake in the morning, and I've now tasted another 4 coffees. So you'll forgive me if I've got a little bit of the shakes. But this coffee is just way better. And when I say way better, you can tell they are the same coffees, but it's almost like one of them you're drinking the special. When you go to wines and you've got like the general wine that they make, and then they've got the special one that's got from a specific terroir, or that they've kissed the grapes to sleep at night from the same bush, but this bush didn't have, is it bush? It's a vine, isn't it? This vine didn't get the grapes kissed to sleep at night. This one did. Or this one was picked at midnight or on a frosty morning, or, I don't know, by naked ladies. Or naked men, if that's what you're naked. Yeah. Anything you want to think. That is the difference when you taste one that is extra special. Or the same with chocolates. You know, you get the normal chocolate and then you get the premium brand. That is the difference. And it is quite astonishing. And it is all down to, I believe, the air drying these out. Now, when I was younger, I had a sort of a kiln sort of jar that I used to keep coffee in. And I still do keep these in airtight bags. But obviously, there is still a large amount of air in here. So do check out my other video, because I have started squeezing the air out with a sous vide machine. Now, obviously I've got various sous vide machines because I like sous vide. I've got the big one and all these different things. But I'll show you hopefully in some B-roll. I didn't bring it up to the mountains, but I do have it back. So hopefully before I publish this video, because you know I take a long time to publish videos, I will do some B-roll where I show you how I keep this. So yeah, but there are various ways in which you can remove air from a bag, from very simple ways. I mean, obviously you can have a very expensive sort of vacuum machine. There are much simpler vacuum machines, but honestly, the best and easiest way is some bags that I'll link to below, where you get a little kind of plunger, a reverse plunger, and it sucks it out. But even if you don't have any of those, what you can do is you put one in one bag like this and seal it up, and the other one you put a fine straw in, seal it all but the fine straw, and literally suck the air out. It's, you know, quite nice air. And I will say that with that method, you probably get more of an idea of how the coffees are developing, because when there's a fresh coffee and you suck in, obviously you get a very strong flavour of fresh coffee, and as it gets older you don't. But yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that's very noticeable is when you open the bag, obviously scratch and sniff can has not been developed yet, but you know, these, it is just night and day. It's and one of the things I love about Monmouth coffee, and it's not just linked to Monmouth, I mean, it's anybody who roasts. There are many, fortunately I live in London where there are lots of places, and unfortunately in many towns in the world it is very hard to find a place that does really good coffee. But in London we are very, very, very spoiled with lots of people importing and roasting coffee, because there's 10 million people. I will pay a premium all day long for a coffee like this that has been freshly imported and freshly ground, and it's still cheaper than some of the premium coffees that honestly just, they taste more like this than like this. And again, so the Hoffman will say that, you know, you need to degas it, and you do, but I actually quite enjoy with the pre-infusion watching the bubbles, the air bubbles come up. You'll probably see in some of my Instagrams I take lots of pictures of those bubbles, and I love seeing the oils reflect the light and stuff like that. It's part of my pleasure in the coffee morning. I don't like weighing coffee out, but I do like, you know, the theatre of making a coffee, and I do love the theatre of a fresh coffee that you need to degas and let it run. And one of the things that I did actually learn from Mr. Hoffman is that obviously with an espresso it's very hard to do that, and so I do let my espresso sit. I do. You see, I learn a lot from the Hoff. He's a good coffee man. That sounded patronising, didn't it? I do learn a lot from the Hoff. You won't like me calling him the Hoff, will you? But yeah, I think that's yeah, just payment for weighing your coffee every morning. I mean, who does that? Unless you work in the industry, obviously. I mean, I suppose the same goes, you know, with mobile and technology. I am probably just as weird. On that note, I will drink my coffee, and I will see you in the next one. But do check out the other video on sucking the air out of the bag, or sous vide, as they say in France, and the following ones, because I plan to experiment a bit more with this. I think we are on to something. Have a good one. Bye.